Welcome. This is the homework solution for Thursday, November 1st. Again, this is part of the week 13 homework. Here, the instruction says, find the slope. Alright, before we start working on this, we should talk about what the slope formula is, okay, to see a better sense of what that is. So, the slope formula is defined by a couple of things. We would say the slope, alright, it is m is equal to delta y over delta x. Okay, so we have to see how it changes. Alright, let's look at this one. Okay, let's look at the first one. Alright, let's grab paint here. Alright, so we go from here to here. We go from here to here. Right? This is x, so this is going to be my delta x. How do you go from -2 to -1? You add 1. How do you go from -1 to 0? You add 1. How do you go from 0 to 1? You add 1. Okay. What is this? This is the change of x. So we would say that delta x is equal to 1. Alright. Let's go here. How do you go from -4 to -2? You add 2. How do you go from -2 to 0? You add 2. How do you go from 0 to 2? You add 2. Right? How does this change? This is your delta y is going to be equal to 2. Alright, so slope formula. Right? Slope formula is equal to m is equal to delta y over delta x. Okay, your y was here, that's 2, and your x here was 1. We will say that is that solution for number 8. M is equal to 2 over 1. That would be the slope for that one. Okay. Alright, let's erase that. Okay. So, let's do this one. How do you go from -8 to -4? You add 4. How do you go from -4 to 0? You add 4. How do you go from 0 to 4? You add 4. So, we say here, your delta what? What is changing? Your x. Your delta x equals to 4. How do you go from your y? Your y, 2 goes to 1. That is your add 1. Oop, no, not add 1. It gets smaller. That should be subtract 1. How do you go from 1 to 0? You subtract 1. How do you go from 0 to -1? You subtract 1. See how you're subtracting 1 from each thing? So you would say delta y, because this is your y value, is equal to -1. Alright, plug into slope formula. Let's see what we get. Again, remember, slope formula is defined as m is equal to delta y over delta x. Right? What is delta y? 1. What is delta x? 4. Ooh, no, -1. So we would say that this one, number 8, has a slope of -1 over 4. Okay? That is how you do number 9. Okay, make sure you just draw the arrow. Alright? Alright, let's look at this one. Okay? Alright, let's see how the x is changing. Remember, the x is the first value here. These are all your x's. Alright? Because the point is in x comma y. Alright, how do you go from 1 to each other? Plus 1, 0 to 2, you add 1, 3 to 4, you add 1. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so I will say here my delta x is equal to 1. How do I go from 5 to 12? How do I do that? You add 7. 12 to 19, you add 7. 19 to 26, you add 7. Alright? So we'd say my delta y is equal to add 7. There you go. So let's plug into slope formula. m is equal to delta y over delta x. What is delta y? 7. What is x? 1. There you go. This is a positive slope because it is going up. Alright, I'm going to leave that up, okay? Let's look at this one. We're going to look at the x value right here. So how do you go from 1 to 2? You add 1. How do you go from 2 to 3? You add 1. How do you go from 3 to 4? You add 1. So we would say here, that is your x value that is changing. Delta x is equal to 1. How do you go from 70 to 55? You subtract 15. How do you go from 55 to 40? You subtract 15. How do you go from 40 to 25? You subtract 15. Delta y is equal to minus 15. Plug it into slope formula. M is equal to delta y over your delta x, which is equal to delta y, negative 15. X is 1. There you go. That is your slope formula. Negative 15 over 1. Alright, there you go. Those are all your homework solution for Thursday, November 1st.